The Louisiana Restaurant Association presents Conversations in the COVID Crisis, a special edition podcast to capture the stories of our industry during the most unprecedented of times. Now, Wendy Warren.
On today's episode, we have Michael Boudreau, who is an LRA Executive Committee member and owns 4 restaurants in Baton Rouge, and he's going to tell us what's been going on in his world. How you doing, Michael?
Doing great.
So I understand that you're out of town right now getting some R&R, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of your free time to reminisce, or maybe that's not the right word right now.
No,
Commiserate?
not at all.
Commiserate.
Yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster, but, good days, bad days, but we just do the best we can.
So tell me, what the deal is with Jubin's. You've decided to close some, to open some. Can you just break it down for me at each of your restaurants? What's happening right now?
We noticed when the COVID first started, when all of this began, in the beginning, we knew that Jubin's to-go food was not one of the big hot items for fine dining. We knew that, we noticed that downtown with the local government shutting down, which supported Christina's, those 2 restaurants, it would be better just shut down for now. Mm-hmm. And then we were able to be successful with to-go business with Beau Soleil and Adrian's, and with the boiled crawfish and a change of scenery for Adrian's. It was just, we were just seeing what would work, what would take off, and we were successful at a couple things, and so we just kept moving with it, just kept moving with the groove, and just kind of listening to what customers were asking and what their wants were, and we found that simple, easy, and quick was definitely the key to working for us.
So what kind of items were those?
Plate lunches.
Plate lunches.
Plate lunches down at Christina's work really well, and so we brought plate lunches over to Adrian's, and we realized it was quick. It was a $10 plate lunch. They wanted a protein, a starch, a vegetable, and maybe a small dessert. Something quick, easy, at $10, and a $10 plate lunch, and boiled crawfish.
Oh.
We set up a to-go station drive-through outside with the boiled crawfish, and it really took off well. Good. I think it also added an excitement of just seeing people out in the parking lot and not being cooped up inside. So,
yeah, and I mean, who doesn't love boiled crawfish? And I'll drive through to get some of that.
Right.
So now what? Boiled crawfish is pretty much done right now. So what's next on the horizon? What do you think? What are you thinking going forward?
So that's when boiled crawfish was over, we knew we had to get really creative with Adrian's, with plate lunches. We went to 25%. We got the limited menu, but just 25%, we noticed that people were just scared.
Yeah.
They were scared to go out to eat. And we were more successful with Beau Soleil, and I don't know, my business partner, Jeff Conaway, he was saying, it's hard to keep people from coming inside. At Adrian's, at first they're crowding in, and, you're trying to keep the crowd separate because people are ready to get out. But they're scared, and it's weird. They would eat, and it just wasn't right, and the mood wasn't right, and just keeping the morale and the staff. And it was like, okay, if we're going to, here we are just trying to break even to get through the summer. It just doesn't make sense. Right. Why not just, and I talked to Melvin Rodriguez, and he said, Michael, when the market's ready, we'll be ready. And it just made perfect sense. And I don't think the market was ready for Adrian. So we decided to put the button, pause the button for the summer and just see where it takes us. I was able to do Jubin's. We opened 3 to 9. And we're still kind of playing around with that. It's getting better, but fortunately, I do have some private parties, and I do have a banquet room that seats 150. So I'm able to do the 6 feet apart, tables 6 feet apart. where at other restaurants I can't do that. Mm-hmm. So it's just really just, like I say, every day is a new adventure.
You're just feeling your way through it, and listening to feedback. And so you are your Jubin's is now open, and what's the other restaurant that's open?
Beau Soleil is open, and it's doing well.
Okay.
Christina's is open downtown, and it's doing well. So the only restaurant we have closed now is Adrian's, so we can focus on the restaurants that are doing well.
Yeah.
And we just, take a revisit in the fall where we're at. We are being very skeptical, and I'd say skeptical. We're a little nervous about July because Baton Rouge is everyone goes on vacation in July. So we're curious to see where that takes us.
So tell me a little bit about the PPP. You decided not to take it. Is that correct?
We actually did decide to take it.
Okay.
And we were able to, it seemed like such a rush to get to the PPP money so you could get your staff back. Mm-hmm. But in reality, it would have been better to wait to use it. The extension came a little too late for us. If we would have known of the extension earlier, knowing that it was going to take place and the way it was going to take place, it would have helped benefit us a little better. Everyone's still fighting not just with the unemployment, being so high, and people receiving checks of $600, $200. I'm hearing all kind of crazy things, types of money that people are receiving with stimulus plans and things like that. So we noticed that if we could have held off on that PPP money, at least to the fall, it would have helped a lot more.
Right.
So you had to lay your staff off or furlough your staff, and then you hire them back, and then the PPP money runs out, and now you're at a point where the sales aren't really where they need to be. So
yeah,
we're just taking it week by week.
Yeah, I understand.
Seeing where we're at.
Well, was there any moment during this where you were hopeful that you were going to come out on the other end of this, relatively unscathed? Was that ever even a consideration?
As of right now, no, it's not. It's kind of scary. Jeff and I spoke on Monday. He's like, "Man, Wesley had a great week last week," and I said, "Man, I miss just talking about good days like this." Mm-hmm. Now, what's it going to be like tomorrow? We don't know.
Right.
So, just kind of taking it day by day. It's kind of scary, and maybe, listening to some of the guys from New Orleans saying we're just open up in the fall, open up in the spring. You just never know. Maybe that might be the case.
So, what measures have you guys taken to make your diners feel safe when they're inside? What are some things that y'all are doing?
Basically follow the rules and just trying to joke a little bit and have fun. A lot of it's 50-50. We've got diners that come in that think this is baloney, and then we got diners that come in and take it very serious. Mm-hmm. And they will call if you're not following the rules to make sure, which is fine. And we, definitely everyone's wearing masks and gloves and making sure they change their gloves and sanitizing and just following the rules, just trying to do what's right.
Well, that's all we can do right now because, as we move forward in this, there are, going to be situations that make us uncomfortable as business owners, especially, when someone walks in without a mask and doesn't want to wear one, but they're, loud talking and everybody kind of, goes on high alert. So, I think that we're definitely at the LRA promoting wearing masks. That's something that, all the health officials say that is, the thing that could, really squash this thing in its tracks. So I have one that I wear around my neck all the time, whether I'm going in public or not, just because I don't want to forget and not have one. So thank you so much for taking your time today, and I hope you enjoy the beach and self-isolating with your family for a few days and getting some rest, because I know this has been very stressful for all of us. And with your leadership role in the LRA Executive Committee, you have been not only taking care of your business, but looking out for the association as well. So thank you so much for that.
But thanks, Wendy, and I really appreciate Stan. You guys, the LRA staff, has been wonderful as far as support and feedback, and just whatever questions we have, they're answered promptly. And it's just amazing what the LRA has done for the restaurant industry, and I thank you very much.
All right. Enjoy your vacation, my dear.
Okay, Wendy, have a good day.
You too. Next up on the podcast is one of my favorite people from down the bayou, Donald Spar, who owns Sparse Restaurants, and also a new-ish venture for him he's going to tell us about, which is called Malt and Burger. How are you doing today, Donald?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Well, you were telling me in the pre-session a little bit about what's going on with Malt and Burger. You want to tell me, you were giving me some fun facts. You want to tell me about it again?
Sure. Actually, we reopened Malt and Burger, which is an institution down here. Been open since 1950s. It's like a drive-in.
Uh-huh.
And we reopened it, ironically enough, 1 year ago today. And like I was telling you, in the midst of the circumstance that we've been dealt with most recently, we've been able to come out on the better side of it, considering the industry, been pretty battered.
So it's, the community has really rallied behind it. It's an institution, and obviously they want to see it continue. So what has your sales were similar, the same, up, down? How would you describe the process of, keeping that business in check during this COVID crisis?
Well, I think, sticking with our values in the midst of everything, just continuing to serve people with a smile and practice, culinary excellence.
And safety and sanitation.
The community. Continue to support the community, even though, some of our brands are down. Just stick to what we've always done, and I think they want to support local business, and so it's worked out.
So tell me about Spars. How did that how did that fare?
Well, in the beginning it was a struggle. People were used to coming in and dining with us. Each Spars location is a little bit different. The one in Design, there's a lot of slow-through traffic, people traveling. Not a lot of people from Lafayette, home area, were going to New Orleans. So that stopped, and then we have a really social scene downtown Thibodeau for breakfast, and some people couldn't really get together.
Right.
It just really, it really stuck it to the sales, but at the end of the day, it wasn't just about the sales. It was about, keeping our employees and doing the right thing, for the community. So we just, we continue to try to be creative and work together to keep people working, and it all worked out.
And what did y'all do? What were y'all? You told me takeout was kind of a struggle because y'all are primarily a seafood restaurant, so that doesn't exactly travel well in a styrofoam container. But what other kind of things were you guys doing?
We tried. We did do curbside, and we did have some success in it.
Okay.
It never did match our dine-in sales. But we just, we did what we could, and even though it wasn't making money, we were keeping people working. And at the end of the day, that's what mattered to us. It wasn't about making money at that point, because nobody was making money, I don't think. Maybe Malt and Burger, or the drive-thrus were, but at the end of the day, our people are. Our team is our biggest asset.
Right.
Standing by our values, supporting the community, and standing in the gap between the problems, and
right.
That's what we did, and now things are coming back. Our employees are back and working, and our community's back supporting us.
Well, that's great.
Are doing well.
So, Spars is on the mend then?
Oh yeah, big time.
So the 50% is people are coming and
that's work.
Okay.
It's working for us. The curbside's picking up the rest of the slack. We have some outdoor dining right by the bayou. It's getting warm and the mosquitoes are there, but people are enjoying
get those citronella candles going. and the what is it, cutter and the off?
Oh yeah. I don't think that even helps out here.
Oh Lord, yeah, you're down in it.
Yeah.
Well, anything you want to share with our with your fellow LRA members about your experience beyond what you've told us already?
No, I'd like to thank the LRA for continuing to work for the restaurants to ensure that we have a voice and we're being heard, and that they support us. I mean, that makes a difference to a lot of independents who, like myself, not very vocal out there and politically active. So, I mean, the LRA really helps look out for people like us, and I thank the communities who support us, and the rest of our brothers and sisters in the industry who are struggling. I mean, we want to be there to support them, and I'll try to make it to New Orleans and get some food when I can as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today and your very positive words for us. We at the LRA, we wake up and work all day, and then, right as we're going to sleep, we're thinking about what we can do tomorrow to make a difference. So I really appreciate you saying that, the kind words about the association. It means a lot.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thinking about us. All right.
Of course. Up next on the podcast is my dear old friend Corey Barr from Monroe, Louisiana, and he's here to give us an update from what's going on in his in the Delta part of the state. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Wendy. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream right here. It's a sunny day. I'm back in my office this week for the first time, so I'm not working in a little home office.
Wonderful. Well, I know we're all glad to be back at work.
Yes, indeed.
We're in the service industry, and we love to serve, and having our customers and our guests in our dining room is what makes us all smile and keeps the machine running, and we're back up and going and couldn't be more excited. So
tell me what you did to kind of get over the bridge until the dining room at Parrish Restaurant reopened.
Well, it was a terrifying time for us all. I mean, it was a once-in-a-generation sort of, or once-in-several-generation sort of event, and there was no blueprint for this. But we transitioned from a restaurant that did about 1% gross revenue and takeout to 100% gross revenue and takeout in 72 hours.
Wow.
So we transitioned into doing family takeaway dinners, family-style packages. We change them up every night. Our good friend Jason Goodenough down at Carrollton Market, we actually talked back and forth with him about what he was doing and what was working for him, and we used some of his ideas and some of our own creativity to kind of bridge that gap, and bridge the gap it did. It kept us busy. It kept our crew working. I'm happy to report we maintained 100% of our staff pre-COVID during the entire pandemic.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and we've actually grown since then. And now that we're at 50% capacity, my wife, who's our director of operations and handles all our booking, has really been creative with how she makes it work and our table spacing and taking tables out. We're within, 8 or 10% of pre-COVID numbers right now, which is unbelievable.
Right.
And I think a lot of that has to do with our service staff here and our kitchen staff here are some of the most amazing people I've ever worked with. They're dedicated. They're genuine. They just have this sense of authenticity about them that attracts people. And let's be honest, everybody's happy to be out of the house.
Right. So how is are the customers like? Do they feel safe? Are they, do you have...
In our neck of the woods, they do. Okay. And we hear from our customers all the time how they appreciate us making the extra effort. I mean, we make a show out of cleaning the door handles after each guest walks in. It's important to us to show our customers that we mean it. We're not just here just to be open business as usual, because we know everybody, no matter how you feel about it, there has to be some concern on your mind about, the situation we're living in.
Right.
So we are making every effort to go above and beyond for our customer to make them feel comfortable and safe at Parrish.
Well, and the face coverings that our staff have to wear now is a right-in-your-face sign that it is not business as usual.
Okay, so granted it's not, and we have some people that are like, they have to run out. They have to go outside and take a couple of breaths and just chill out for a minute because you're breathing your own air. I mean, it's not exactly what we're used to. And our happy smiling faces in the dining room and smile to guests, let them see you smile. That sort of thing. That's not happening just yet.
You know how they say smile with your eyes?
Yeah. And that's what they're having to do. And I'm telling you, this staff they're my hero. I look at them and I'm just impressed each and every day with the measures that they take to really blow our guests away with only half of their ability to express themselves. You know?
Exactly. So what, have you had to limit your menu? Have you had trouble getting some things? Like, tell me what the supply chain looks like for you.
We did some things on the front end of this when our suppliers were telling us, they were coming to us and going, hey, would you buy this beef from us? Hey, we'll give you a deal on prime ribeyes. We'll give you a deal. I'm like, we were buyers when everybody else wasn't. So when we reopened, we had dry-aged beef that was 6 and 8 weeks old. And, we bought new bar stools and repainted our restaurant and bought a custom-made wood-fired grill from Chris Demott. So during the time that everybody was covered up and huddling and trying to figure out what to do, we were saying that we couldn't be the same restaurant we were when this happened. We have to be a better restaurant on the other side. So we did. We upped our game. We really converted ourselves to the restaurant we knew we could be versus the restaurant we were. So we didn't go home. We stayed here and we worked our butts off to make sure that when we welcomed people back into Parrish, that we were a better restaurant than we left off.
That's wonderful. That is an amazing story and an amazing outlook on the whole thing.
Yeah, we're going to be here, and my customers are going to be here, but, we got to do better, and we could do better, and that's what we spend our time working on. And I feel like that's shown in not only our service, but our food and our physical environment that we're working in.
What about menu prices? Have you adjusted your menu prices? Have you had...
Well, you look at our health reports, from our Department of Health and Hospitals, and it says on there when you talk about crawfish and shrimp, it's all Louisiana for us, and that's how we treat every product that we buy. Whether it's chanterelle mushrooms that are locally foraged or the beef we buy, you name it, we invest a lot of money in it, and we're living in a new world where I think, as a consumer, they're seeing it on their side when they go to the grocery store, that how much a ribeye costs, how much a fillet costs, how hard it is to get good crab meat, how hard it is to get good fish, if you can even get it. So we have to be realistic with our pricing, and I think it's time. I mean, there's how many people you know that say the restaurant business is one of the more difficult businesses there is. That's all you ever hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's because people are afraid a lot of times to price themselves appropriately for their craft. And I think this is also an opportunity for us to be reborn as you know, the hospitality industry, and charge a fair price for the work that we put in.
Yeah, agreed. Well, this is definitely a reset time, a reset moment. If you were thinking about it and wondering about it before, this is the chance to kind of take a look at everything and figure out how to make it work better for you financially, and how to make it work better for your customers and your staff. And, you know, just I think it's a great optimistic viewpoint and an opportunity that you took because, let's face it, we had a little bit more time than we usually did.
Well, I mean, that was it. When do you get an opportunity in the restaurant industry to stop for a while and reassess? Really, to stop.
You don't.
You know, and reassess what you're doing, how you're serving people, how you're taking care of your staff, how you're taking care of your physical plant. You know, you don't get those opportunities very often. So we knew that we had to take that opportunity and maximize it, not only for our guests, but our staff and all of our team and our community. And I think it's been successful so far. I will say that we did trim some things off of our menu that were unnecessary. I think a lot of times you find yourself just trying to please so much that sometimes you'll overload yourself. Mm-hmm. So we really dialed it into what we think we do best, and that's what we're sticking with.
Good. And you were married right before this, correct?
Yeah. So let me paint a picture for the last 6 months or 8 months of my life. So we opened I got married in October. We opened a coffee shop in late November, made it through the holiday season, which was insane, got the food truck, got it going, and then this hit. So, and I'm still married, and we still have all our businesses.
Oh,
you know,
that's quite the testament.
Yeah. But,
that's
I mean, you know,
one hell of a first year of marriage.
I'm telling you, my wife is, and she joined the company. I mean, but it's all been a blessing, really. I mean, Louisianians are resilient people. We all know that. We get it. We get a double dose of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's if everywhere else in the country gets a single helping, we get a double helping.
That's true.
Maybe go back for thirds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
we do get our fair share of punishments, but I think that in the great scheme of things, we're kind of becoming experts at crisis communications.
Well, I mean, and then we backed this up with, on Easter Sunday, we had 3 tornadoes touch down our most economically depressed part of our city. So that afternoon, we were cranking chainsaws and cutting logs out of people's, yards and off their houses. I mean, so, you just got to go. I mean, that's what you got to do. You just got to go for it.
Yeah, I remember texting you, and you were like, I've been cutting trees all afternoon.
That's right. As one of our servers tells us all the time, there's no days off.
No.
No,
so. Not in the restaurant business, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for a breath of fresh air. And I'm sure that our members are going to listen to this and be very hopeful and take some of your lessons learned and some of your actions and apply it to their own businesses to become better. And that makes us all better. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You got it, Wendy. Thank you so much. And thanks for all the, y'all do at the Louisiana Restaurant Association. Y'all have been an asset throughout this with the webinars and staying in touch and keeping us all abreast of newest legislation and newest laws passed and everything. So we appreciate everything that y'all do. And certainly y'all make us a stronger and better industry.
Well, it's my labor of love personally and what we're here for. So I wouldn't be anywhere else during this type of thing, that's for sure. So thank you very much.
I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the LRA's Conversations in the COVID Crisis. If you have a story idea, email communications@lra.org. Visit www.lra.org for the latest on COVID-19 resources for restaurateurs. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next time, stay safe, everybody, and remember, we at the LRA are working harder than ever for Louisiana's restaurant industry.